Today I want to make stuffed shells, but not any stuffed shells. I want to make my chicken, spinach, and artichoke stuffed shells. Very good, very easy to make, basically exactly what it sounds like. It's a cross between like a traditional stuffed shell and just stuff it with some spinach and artichoke dip plus some chicken. Or you don't have to use meat, whatever you want to do. This is just how I make it. Let's get started because I am hungry. Just gonna prep some of my ingredients. Got a couple cloves of garlic here that I'm just gonna chop pretty finely. I like a lot of garlic, but of course you can adjust to how you like it. I'll be sure to write out the recipe that I like to kind of throw together down in the description. And of course you can make any sort of adjustment you want to. Garlic. Got a skillet on like a medium heat, a little bit of olive oil. I'm just gonna pop my garlic in. I'm gonna saute this garlic just for a minute or so until it becomes a little toasty and pretty fragrant. I'm gonna cook these together for another couple of minutes. Pop in my spinach. I just gave this a rough chop too. You're probably like, Megan, what in tarnation are you doing with all of this spinach? But like, you'll see, it's gonna cook down to nothing and get your greens in. Seriously, when you cook spinach, you're gonna need a lot of it because it will literally become nothing. I'm gonna season this with some salt and pepper. This has been cooking for maybe less than a minute and it's already about half the size and volume. I'm gonna add some lemon pepper in here too. And that's it. I don't want to cook it to death. I just want everything to be kissed by the heat and I wanted the spinach to really get wilted down in there. So I'm going to take this off the heat and bring it over to the counter. All right, so before I make my filling, I want to pop my pasta into some water to cook until al dente. Definitely more with a bite to it. You want to undercook it maybe by a minute or so, depending on what it says on the package. I'm just using my little baby dish here, and so I'm trying to figure out how many I'll need. I got my big Papa shells here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll do 8. While my pasta is doing its thing, I'm gonna make the filling. So into my large bowl here, I have got about a cup and a half to start with of some whole milk ricotta cheese and about a 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. Into here, I could plop in my filling that I made. Some lemon zest, good amount of Parmesan cheese. I've just got some shredded mozzarella cheese, some salt, some pepper. Before I put my chicken in here, I'm just gonna mix it up a bit so there's not so much in this and then chicken goes flying everywhere. And time for my chicken. I just have a pretty big chicken breast that I cooked up in the oven, all the way cooked through, 165 internal, and just gave it a good chop. You want it in smaller pieces because they're gonna be going into the shells, so you don't want to have huge pieces of chicken. And just give this another mix. Gonna give this a taste and adjust for seasonings. Oh yeah, that's good. Filling. Done. We're just gonna wait for my pasta to cook so I can stuff these things. I'm going to preheat my oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Now to prep my baking dish, I just did a little quick spray of some nonstick. And so for sauce on these shells, instead of going straight up red sauce, I like to use more of like a pink sauce. So I just had some Alfredo and I just put a couple spoonfuls of red sauce in here. And that's good enough for me. I'm just gonna put a layer on the bottom here. Of course, you can make your own sauces, but I'm going Sandra Lee on this one and just cracked open a bottle of Alfredo and a bottle of red. On top of our layer of sauce down the bottom here, I'm just gonna put some cheese. Gotta have cheese everywhere. Time to stuff these things. I've got my shells here. They're gonna finish cooking in the oven, but I want them to have some sort of structure so the filling just doesn't flop everywhere when I put it in here. And then just nestle it right in there. Oven's ready. Top with a bit more of my sauce. I don't like it too saucy, just enough. And you guessed it, top it with some more cheese. And I'm gonna do a little bit more lemon zest on top because why not? A little bit of pepper. I'm going to loosely cover this with some tin foil and pop it in the oven and have it cook for probably like 15-20 minutes until you can start to hear it bubble and everything is starting to melt. Then I'm gonna take the foil off and I'll probably broil it for a couple of minutes just to get the top all good and melty and maybe a little bit brown. As you can see, I have a ton of filling left over, but it's all good because I will use it. Instead of making huge batches of these shells, I can now just keep this in the fridge and stuff a few, cook them off, and so they're fresh whenever I want them. Or I can stuff like any other kind of pasta, like a manicotti, or even make like a lasagna roll up, or even make lasagna out of this. That would be delicious. Or, you know, you can just throw this into a casserole dish, bake it off, throw some more cheese on it, and go at it with a chip because this is basically dip. I always make a full batch for that reason because I have a sickness where I can't just cook for like one person, so this is what I'm left with. Oh yes. Look at this thing. It smells so good. This cheese is so melty. This thing is just a cauldron of bubbling delicious, but you're done. So now I'm just gonna wait just a few minutes. I don't want to absolutely annihilate my mouth with this. I'm just gonna let it set up for a bit, cool down, think about what it's done before I absolutely punish it. First one is always the worst. Oh, yes. Let me get another one. Oh my goodness. Look how delicious those look. Ooh, and the light's just shining in on them, all of its glory. The sun is blinding me, but I don't even care. I just need to have a bite of this. Oh, oh yes. This is where it's at. It's so creamy. The flavor, explosive. I can taste all of the garlic that I put in there, and the spinach and the cheeses and the artichokes. Ooh, and the chicken adds something really good, but it is so creamy and satisfying, hearty and filling, and perfect for days like this where it's about 10 degrees outside. You are getting very hungry. That's how I hypnotize all the people to fall in love with me through food. I'm just kidding, it hasn't worked yet. This is definitely a really easy weeknight meal too. Doesn't take very long to throw together at all. You should definitely make this, give it a try, enjoy.